Here we go. Alexashka. So it's time for me to start with d4. d4, e6. Well, I'll get a French defense, I guess. Could have started with e4 if he was going to play that way. Or a Sicilian. It's going through these funny transpositions, but we've just transposed into an e6 Sicilian from d4. And that's the old line from Morphy Paulsen. So the Paulsen variation, I guess you could call this. I don't remember how to play after this. I remember Morphy just dropped the knight back. Well, he played a couple different lines. I think once he supported the knight, once he dropped it back. Normal development here. Maybe then this knight, instead of going to c3, should go to d2 and f3. Just get over to the king side. What's he going for? He's got checks on this diagonal. He's got the queen can come out on the queen side. Yeah, let's bring the knight over to the other side. Or, well, allow it to come over to the other side. I can develop with bishop d3 to defend the e-pawn and castle. And that's usually a good square for the bishop as well. You know, I haven't clamped down on d5, so one of the things he could play is just d5 right there. But anyway, I get castled, I get developed. This can't be too bad. Yeah, so he goes for d5. It makes sense. So I will take that. And if he took with the pawn, you would have an isolated queen's pawn position with decent development. I mean, it might not have been bad to take with the pawn there. I can kick his knight at some point with c4. He can harass my bishop with knight to b4 or knight to f4. So if I play knight f3, then I'm covering the f4 square, so he can't play knight f4 anymore. And if he plays knight to b4, maybe I'll move the bishop. Don't particularly want to trade that bishop for the knight. So this is the position where you have to wonder if you can get away with the Greek gift sacrifice. You have the queen, the bishop, and the knight all in position. The knight has the ability to go to the g5 square. So bishop takes check, king takes, knight here check, king back, queen here. That's the basic pattern. And he has to move the rook in order to give the king an escape square and avoid the bait, and then you can grab another pawn on f7, and you've kind of destroyed his king side. So I'm going to give that a shot. It's just the typical pattern. Should always be on the lookout for. It's an ability to go to the g4 square with the knight is critical. g5. And it's supported by the bishop here, and he's only defended by the queen. So you get this check, and you get the queen out very quickly. And then, you know, it's your challenge. Your challenge is to get the rest of your pieces involved. So he came forward. Yeah, that's one way to avoid some of these problems. Let's see, so there's a queen check here on d3. He can block with the pawn. Then I can bring my queen over here to the king side, or I could place my queen directly at g4, but the queen at g4, maybe he can just play this pawn. The pawn forward, knight there, check. King moves, I take the queen, he takes my queen. So let's go with this check. See how this works out. See where he's going with the king. So he blocks. So now the queen can come over to f3 here and set up a discovered attack. See, if I go to h3, queen h3, threatening here, he can put his rook on the h file, so that's not going to be so great. So let's put the queen here. Yeah, maybe this doesn't work. He can try bishop to c7 here. Yeah, and then I don't have a double attack on the king. I just don't have that, and I don't have bishop to f4 because the knight is covering the f4 square. I have pawn to f4 though, so this renews the discovered check threat with the knight. So this knight can hop into c5, and they can coordinate maybe on the e3 square. This bishop doesn't have a lot of scope, but let's see. So I have knight here check, picking up the rook, and I should probably go for that because I don't see a winning attack at this point. If I try to put my queen here in the line, his rook coming over here is going to be a problem. So let's go ahead and grab a little material back. So I've given up 2 pieces for a 2 pieces for this attack for a rook. So where can I go now? Is there a clever check here or something? Not seeing it right away. So let's grab the rook. See how he wants to take back. I can now lift my rook to the f file. Rook to f3. Pawn to c4, kicking this knight. Where's the knight going? This is covered. Here is covered. Here is covered. He could go here. I could kick it again. Lift my rook. How about if I just bring the bishop out first, connect my rooks, prepare to play c4, kicking the knight, and okay, he's hitting this pawn, and let's see, rook here, here. Let's kick the knight and play bishop to c3, kicking the queen. He throws in a check. That's true, he can do that. Didn't want to push the pawn forward. I want to move this knight. So I moved my king aside, and the knight moves, and then I have this bishop c3 on the queen there. And he blocks. So knight takes, and then I can pile up more pressure with the rook. But knight takes, and then rook here, he can defend with the knight. What have I got there? Well, still, let's get that pin in place, and then let's just pile up on it. And then queen here, right? Doesn't queen there win that piece? So I switched from kingside attack mode to just grabbing material. But if I come out material up, then that's a way to win the game. And we'll see if he comes up with some clever defense here. Some counterattacking idea. I mean, there are checks, but I think everything loses some material here. So after he takes and I take, I'm up the exchange and a pawn. One pawn plus the exchange. Okay, and he goes for the endgame. Yeah, he's got a good bishop. Let's unwind my king here. Get the king out of the corner and get the pawn on a dark square. Let's defend this pawn. This is a weakness here. I can go after. Yeah, he can defend there. Okay, so let's double my rooks and activate my king. Okay, I need to get that pawn forward. Okay, so put a little pressure on the bishop there. I could just give up the exchange here. Let's think about this. I take, he takes, I take, he takes this pawn. I take back, rook takes with check. I come forward to attack this pawn. It's not so clear. Not so clear at all. So let's go this way. Let's defend that pawn. Don't want to let his rook get active. Now I am threatening to take this bishop, and I will. This is just going to be a good end game for me. I often have to do this, but at 2 pawns up in a rook endgame, I should be able to pull this off. So let's go for, let's see. Yeah, let's push this pawn forward. Yeah, I was going to wait till I was prompted to move that H pawn. It looks like this is kind of static over here. So I didn't want to just push it, but I needed to. Looks like I needed to. In the long run, I've got an extra pawn over here. So when he relieves the pressure, I'll be able to push some of these forward. But for now, let's see if I can do something like this. Maybe put some pressure on the pawns this way. I can come after this one. Okay, so he immediately targets the B pawn, so I have to drop back. Okay, so he goes there. Well, let's see. Let's move my king around, maybe. And then now, if I go here, I'm defending the rook so that I can push the B pawn forward. And he can't go after my G pawn, at least not easily. So let's push. Get that passed pawn going. And we'll go here. And push. Yeah, so I can hold on to things from this side. So if he defends this pawn, I can bring my king forward. Okay, so he gives the check first. his king can't easily take care of everything. Can't attack my pawn and defend his pawn. So it's going to just fall apart here at this point, I think. Okay, so, well, this ended up being a trade, huh? Okay, let's just promote this pawn then. He does have this check here. My king can go to g7, so I think that'll be okay. Now this pawn is going through, and his pawn is stopped. Does have that. he's good at finding these resources. Okay, so rook all the way here, and the king here runs out of checks. Well, he gets one more check there, right? Now he's out of checks. Okay, nice endgame win there, and good game overall. And we'll upload this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.